Is this on? Here we go. Why is it not coming up? 1 second, y'all. 1 second, y'all. We about to get it rocking. Gotta get this off.
I love the intro, man. I love it.
Appreciate you, broski. I don't know why is it not coming back right now. Why is it not? How do we get this off? Here we go. Let's get
Hey,
it
I
rocking,
see
guys.
you.
Yeah,
All
guys, we
right.
are back, guys. Welcome to another episode of More
Yeah.
Than a Title. I'm your host, as usual, Jared Thomas, y'all. Sorry for the little technical difficulty. My computer's acting a little wacky right now, but I'm glad to be back, y'all. It's another episode. This is episode 8, season 2, and this is a very, very special episode for me personally, guys, man. Special episode. So I got a special guest, man. This brother, man, this is my guy right here, man. So I met this brother through a job opportunity, man. I was at an agency, and it really was the beginning of the personal branding journey. And we started the journey together. We became close friends. We're family now, man. And to have him on the podcast right now, man, is an honor. It's a pleasure, bro. So I just want to introduce you guys to my brother Lee Gall, man. What's going on, babe?
Hey, JT, man, your intro is just incredible, man. And it absolutely was a game changer when I first saw your name come across the agency and everyone was passing down your resume and we're all excited. And then when I finally got to talk to you, I was like, I have to work with this guy. I have to work with this. So the agency, everyone had a part in interviewing. So, everyone interviewed, everybody in there. I mean, it wasn't big, but we all took our chance. And when I interviewed with you, I was like, okay, all right, we got to see everything we can do to make sure that this is the person that I work with. So during that process, I remember everyone was in agreement. We all loved you, but it was the presentation stage. It was like the final decision. And so we brought you into a big boardroom and you did a presentation. And during that presentation, you're like, what I really want to do is build my personal brand. I want to start on LinkedIn and I just want to build that up. And I don't know how, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I just feel like it's my purpose. I just want to do that. And I think I could do that here. And to hear you say that and then to be where we are now is getting to watch a whole journey. Like, I'm lucky. Nobody else has been able to see your journey from the perspective that I've been able to see it. First as like a person that was there in the beginning to being able to watch it from the outside and all the amazing guests and everything that you bring on and the conversations that you have and the information and knowledge you get out of people and inspiration that you give, and then to kind of bring it full circle to be here with you, man. It's incredible. It's amazing. So it's a pleasure to be here.
I've got nothing but love for you, bro. I remember that presentation. I remember for all the guests listening, it was one night. So after we had the presentation, I accepted the offer. We go to a team dinner. I'm not even with the team yet. So we go to a dinner, meet everybody. Everybody's having fun. It was a great time. After the dinner, me and Lee, we catch up. So we go to the car and we just end up hanging out for hours, just talking about a lot, talking about like just what we want to do for ourselves, our kids, man. What's our future vision? And then ultimately, how can we win in this organization, right? We're in a small agency. We're trying to get enterprise accounts. And we're like, man, there's got to be a better way to do sales than just sending out these emails and stuff. It's got to be something more than that. We're more than a title. We're more than that. Like we're more than email, man. And with our personality, if you guys have met us together, especially in a conference or anything like that, it was just magnetic, the two of us together. So once we started, day one, it was just crazy. Like I just remember every morning, bro, going downstairs, meeting for the coffee. What's up, bro? What are we doing? And then no rhyme or reason, we would just pull out the phone and just start recording, bro.
It's so funny too, because I had always sort of wanted to do it, but I'd never really articulated it or made it such a priority for real. It was always just something I kind of wanted to do. And when you came along and we got a chance to work together every day and build off each other's energy, because that's all it is. Like I think when we're together, your energy hypes my energy, hypes your energy, hypes mine. It's just like, it's this amazing kind of thing that happens. But we were talking about doing it and we were like gonna do it. And it just the one day pulling out the phone and going, it's recorded. And you talk a lot about just doing it and making the content. And that was, it's funny because there was that moment before and the moment after. The moment after we decided to just take the phone out and record and post it, like that was
different.
You can't unmake the omelet at that point. It's already made. Like it's, so yeah.
It was there, man. It was there. It was just a different vibe, man. Like I said, and just I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like you gave me that confidence because it sounded good in theory. It just sounded good. Like, yeah, bro, we're gonna kill it. We're gonna go on LinkedIn. People are gonna love us, and then we're gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna shit ton of sales and all this other stuff, bro. Until it actually started to happen. Until even before the sales stuff, it was just seeing the reaction of us. I remember like the Valentine's Day video, the Kobe Bryant video, like all of those like real good videos, bro, that were getting 50, 60 likes and thousands of impressions, bro. And then we caught the LinkedIn bug. And I talk about this a lot, guys. If you guys ever saw my presentation, but this is why I say just step out there and do it, because once you step out there and get it and you see 1,000 views, and if you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're on all the other places, you're not getting that. Yeah. You're not getting it. You're like, damn, that's where I really want it. And you getting it here on LinkedIn. And then, bro, I remember us going to get lunch, bro, and people actually recognizing us.
Yeah, I remember that. That was so weird. Like that didn't seem possible off of just what you and I were doing. But I remember having somebody be like, I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity right now. And I was like, stop, hold on a second. Of all the things that I've done, you know, I'm a musician and I did that professionally for years. And like, I never had somebody actually do that like, whoa, it's you from this thing that I know, you know, I'd never had it happen before, like to that degree. Yeah. And it's really weird. And incredible. You know, I think what sort of seemed to me to be what was happening is you had understood in the moment that LinkedIn was this great greenfield opportunity, and that, you know, it's still part of your core message. There's such a small amount of people that actually make content on here. But you seem to kind of understand that as a founding kind of principle on your approach to it. And when we first started in the beginning, it really was like, there really wasn't two people like you and I doing what was being done on LinkedIn. I mean, which seems kind of silly. It's like, you know, you got a black guy, you got a white guy, they work in business. Like that's got to happen all the time. And there's you know, but when we came together and recorded videos, you know, it was just like two people who were really developing a conversation in the moment, really organically, coming up with points and coming up with, you know, being able to tie it together and put a sort of button on it, have a message, you know, it just sort of happened naturally. And that's why I think I respond to how you've always been about, you know, keeping it real on social media as well as in real life. Like I remember that first night that you're talking about after the dinner that we sat and we talked, you know, I was talking about real ones that I knew in the business and the people, you know, in our circle that we were going to be walking into, and kind of just using that as that kind of you know, KPI, but it's around people. Who's the real one? Who's the authentic one? And testing the premise that real ones, you know, and authentic people work well together and push each other forward and don't hold each other back, right? And I think that's true. I think we've proven that that's true.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. I didn't know LinkedIn was gonna be the gold mine. I didn't know. It was all instinct, and it was all because dude was on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, if you're on Twitter, like this is where our customers would be. And if you see me active over here, then that might make some sense. If I'm like, I'm on Instagram all day, you'd be like, hey, you're fired. The hell out of
here.
Yeah. But I damn sure didn't know the organic visibility. I had a hunch because we all go on LinkedIn. You don't really see content. You see the same people. You don't really see people posting unless it's some boring stuff. And I'm like, if we could just do something different that captures people's attention, they're going to figure out who we are, what we are. They're going to want to hang out. They're going to want to go get the beer. They're going to want to have a conversation with us. And then as sales folks, your leverage increases dramatically when they come to you. So why am I trying to convince you for a sale when I can sell you through content? And by the time you get on the phone with me, we're just shooting the shit for 15 minutes. And then you already gave me the problem in the email. All I got to do is show you a couple slides and what our plan is going to be and, you know, what our strategy is. And then you sign on the dotted line. So we basically changed the way we were doing sales. We changed the sales cycle, bro. By the time we left, by the time I left, bro, it was Rankable was one of the biggest traffic drivers. And it was, we were doing stuff, bro. You know me, I was anti-email. I'll tell everybody I was anti-email at that time. So I was like, I just wasn't going to do it. We had SDRs and stuff like that doing emails for us, but I just wasn't going to do it. I just think without good messaging and without the resources and the data to be like, hey, have a concise message, just like, hey, I've read your 10K report. This is what you guys are doing. This is your mission for 2023. This is how we can help you. If we don't have that type of material, I'm just shooting in the dark and just hoping somebody bites. And I hate that shit, which could also impact your brand negatively. Like, I tell people all the time, bro, like, I don't think about the 3 meetings I got out of 1,000 emails. I think about the 997 people who think I'm an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Because that's our brand, and that's what really matters at the end of the day, bro. So how can we flip that on our head? And we did it, bro. We did it, man. But even before we even go into that and like the results and stuff like that, bro, how did you get into sales? Like tell the audience that, man. Like how did you get into sales? Your background and stuff like that.
This is kind of an interesting, I guess, background story, and I usually tell it a couple of different ways. The first way is people will say, what do your parents do? And I tell people that my father's a minister, and they'll go, oh gosh, you really you took a total different path than him. And I'd go like, well, did I? I mean, my dad's in sales, right? He is ultimately a fisher of men, right? And so in that sense, it's not that different. But when I started sales, me and some friends moved down to Austin a summer between junior and senior year, and we wanted to play music down there, and so we were able to find an apartment. One of the friends that I was there, there was 4 of us. One of them, he was 18, so he was able to get us an apartment, and we all kind of just started looking for work. And I found a card in the apartment that we moved into. Go apply making cold calls down the street. So I went to this building, and it was basically calling for the Fraternal Order of Police, which is like a fundraising arm of the police where you sell people a sticker. It's like a badge, a silver, bronze, or a gold sticker, and they're different like memberships. And they coached you to speak in different accents based on the territory you were calling. And so it seemed like really fun to me, calling like Oklahoma versus Texas and putting on a different kind of accent, right? And so I did that for the summer that I was down there. And so that's technically the first time I ever did sales, and it was my first job that wasn't like in a restaurant, right? And then fast forward, I ended up working with a friend of mine when I lived in Canada, in Toronto. We'd commute out on the train out of Toronto in a little town called Oshawa. It's like a automotive town, and I worked there, cold calling and selling basically a product that was free. Like I was selling this energy audit. So basically, the company I worked for was Sunpower Blue Bay, and we went to all our commercial customers, and we would do an audit for free, see what their lighting was, and then we'd replace up to $1,000 worth of their lighting with energy efficient lighting. And so it was one of the most challenging sales I've ever had, because I wasn't selling anything. I was giving away something for free. And so if you want to see skeptics, you don't know skeptics. Okay, everyone in sales is like, oh yeah, no, I get pushback. You don't get pushback. I'm giving away something for free. You should see the pushback that people were giving me. People would hang up. They'd threaten me. Just be like, how dare you try and scam me? And I would have to try and pivot and justify it. But I would be very persistent. And I realized like what I realized in that moment was, gosh, okay, I'm selling something that I believe in. And not only do I believe in what the product does, which is, it lowers energy consumption, right? It's like a net positive for the world, but also affects positively the person that I'm talking to and trying to get to be a part of this program. My customer, essentially. It benefited them, right? It benefited everyone. And so that made me really mission driven to go, essentially what I needed to do was very easy. Who's the owner or the manager? I'd get them on the phone. I explain that, I work on behalf of the province. This is a program that will change out your lights, $1,000 worth to energy efficient. It's free. You'll save money. It's good for the environment. That was my pitch. And it was, once I could get through to somebody, they'd go, okay, we'll send them by. And they would send somebody by. But I had times where somebody would call and say, no, we don't want any. And I could tell it wasn't the owner of the business. And I would call back. I called this law office once, and this secretary was doing an amazing job at being a gatekeeper and protecting the time of her boss. I do not fault her one bit. But when I called, she kept hanging up on me, and I kept calling back. Because I can't take a no from somebody who doesn't have the authority to say no. That's a big thing I also learned in sales. Is a lot of people have the authority to say no, but they don't have the authority to say yes. Yeah. So, learning who the authority, who can say yes, that was really important. So I finally called in, and the owner, the lawyer at the firm answered, and he's like, "Listen, what are you doing? You keep calling. Stop harassing us. We said we don't want it." And I was like, well, I'm part of a program that is offering free energy efficient lighting. It's on behalf of the province. And it's just, I need to speak to the owner because it's up to you to say yes to it or to say no to it. And he was like, I think, okay, so in the front we have probably 4. And I was like, all right, he just started like being, okay, I got lights here. I got lights in the office. And he started explaining to me where the lights were. And I'm like, I'll send somebody out. And switched to $1,000 worth of lighting, right? But I had to be persistent in a way that was really mission driven, and that was a big thing to learn for me as a part of that. So I learned a ton from that, but I didn't go away from that feeling like I was a salesperson. And even what I did when I was in my teens, I didn't feel like I was really being a salesperson. I didn't really think about it.
It wasn't until like a salesperson if it feels like the swindle or you don't believe in the product.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, right? And I don't know. The working for the Fraternal Order of Police, I definitely didn't feel good about it. But being able to give people free, energy efficient, lighting and appliances or whatever, that makes a difference. So I was like, okay, I'm like providing a service here. And it was good. It was good. But I didn't really get into sales until I worked at a startup. And a friend of mine just had posted on Facebook, of all places, hey, does any friends have any cold calling experience? I work at this startup and we're looking for somebody. And I kind of knew him, and I messaged him. He's like, oh yeah, come on in. And I got the job. And that's when I was an SDR. And I was prospecting, and it was at a company called Lookbook HQ. They're now Path Factory. They're an amazing sort of content, content engagement platform, and super smart leaders there. And the founders, Nick Edward, and Mark Opowski, are fantastic, so smart, and that's when I got a real sense of what sales means to an organization, sort of top down, right? Where the sales function fits into the greater success of the company. Because when you're at a small startup and then you start to see it grow, you can see the fruits of the labor, and you can see the org chart, because it's not that big of an org chart, right? And that's what kind of got me excited about the path of sales. Was really like that formalized experience. I thought to myself, I can do this. And now I know why I do it and what it means for the greater sort of success of the company. But it was always a conversation there. It was always a conversation between everyone. It was always a free flow and exchange of ideas. It was something that, I think I've still always kind of chased that first great startup experience that really kind of made an impression on me. And in some sense sort of ruined me for other companies, because it was really that opportunity to be around super smart, super open, very, forward thinking. When they hired the sales team, they hired it correctly. They had the scale to be able to implement new sales. They didn't just hire salespeople as throwing money at a problem. They didn't have this delusion that founders have, where I got the company, the seed round funding. It's like, well, that's a founder. Everyone knows they're dealing with the founder when they do that. They invest in you. You didn't do it because you have this incredible sales acumen. You did it despite your lack of sales acumen, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So he didn't. That company, those guys, they didn't do that. They built it out really well. They built out marketing all at the same time, and it was a really well thought out execution on things, and it made a big impact on kind of what I view as the right kind of organization to work with. So yeah. So yeah, hey, Path Factory.
Shout out to Path Factory. Shout out to y'all, man. But you named you said a lot of good things, and I was thinking about there's so many different ways we can unpack that, bro. Because I kind of do want to talk about sales, because I kind of got the same shake as you, bro. The same. I got in through the back door. You already know, bro. I was going for a hospital call center job, and the next thing you know, I'm at a place called Intent, and I'm selling digital ad spaces, right? And how I ended up getting lit in there was everybody was going after the big deals, like the $5,000, $10,000 deal at the time. And so for anybody listening, basically, if you were a children's birthday planner, we'd put you on Nick Jr. If you was a home theater person, we put you on hgtv.com. So anything that was related to your business, we would put you next to relevant content on top tier websites. So that's what I was calling people, cold calling and doing it. But it was hard to get after the Coca-Colas and all that other stuff. So what I did, bro, I went after every home theater installation person in the US. So that's when Yelp was first started, and they just started putting their listings up. Most home theater guys, guess what, are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. You don't have to get through Sally. I don't have to go through all of those people. Yeah. And if I get the problem, and I spoke to enough of them where all their problems were the same. They were looking to more meetings. They were looking to get more leads. They were looking to drive down their marketing costs. They just want to go and do the job. They don't have time to think about all this other shit. So it's all right. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, John, so what if I do this? I called every single one, bro. Instead of me getting the $5,000 deal, I would get 10 $500 deals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I ended up going from there, bro, then just going and going. But a lot of shit that I learned in sales, and I'm glad we went through that, bro. But the numbers game, all of that stuff is bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think and I'm saying that respectfully to all the salespeople, a lot of the training courses, the saying, those are good things, but I think psychology is the best thing that you should be thinking about when it comes to sales. And if you're doing sales right, and you're really passionate about what you're doing, all it is speaking to the problem and the bigger problem, and you attaching yourself to whatever problem you think is the priority for that organization. And then you're telling a story. You're going high when you're talking about this. You're going low when you're talking pricing. You're doing those things, and it's really your show. It's this, bro. It's a podcast. It's a show.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's a show. But if you're being honest with people, bro, and if you know your industry well, and if you come with a different angle, that's all that sales is, man. But I feel like we overcomplicate the shit, especially in tech. Especially in tech. It shouldn't be five meetings for you to get a price. It shouldn't be, you got to go in there, you got to go request a demo, then you speak to Jared, the SDR, then you get lead a sales guy, and then, we're about to close, so he brought in his boss, the big guns, and then, it's so stupid, bro. It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like it reminds me a lot of this thing that just happened. I went to a live event, like an in-person expo, and somebody, I met there was like, hey, what do you plan to do here? I'm trying to meet as many people as I can. And I was like, I said, honestly, I want to step away from an event like this with one really important contact. That's all I can really ever ask for. I'll meet a bunch of people, and that's great. And meeting people in person, I think, is actually such an important component to building your personal brand and building out a network. You have to have some face-to-face time with some of those people. But the idea that I go to an event like that and I would make relevant and meaningful connections with 20 top executives. I mean, I could say that I've done that, and I could do all the things on paper look like I did that. But am I really going to connect with somebody to a point where I feel like they understand me and they feel like I understand them? And that means not only just respecting each other as human beings, but really wanting to work with each other if there is a need to, if an opportunity rises. I think those are actual things that happen in the real world, not like, all right, SDRs, I want to send you out to an event where it's going to be all these top executives and they're going to be there for thought leadership and you're going to be there trying to sell to them and they're going to avoid you. All right, and go bring me back 50 great leads. Like,
bro, but just think about our experience when we went to what was the search when we went to the Javits?
The SMX.
What was that event? It was search SMX, bro. So for those listening, this was the first event we went to. It was like maybe a month or two in, and we go to search the Search Marketing Expo. It's in the Javits Center, but we end up tearing the room up. me and Lee, we went down there and tore the room up, man. We worked the room so crazy because we just and that's what made it possible. That's what helped the brand. It wasn't us trying to look for contacts. It was us just being regular people, having fun, knowing our industry, and just talking shop and not selling you shit. It was just like, I'm not gonna sell you, but this is what we do. Oh, that's what you do? Cool. But are we getting beers for lunch? Like, what's up afterwards? You going to the after party? Like what are we doing? And then before you know it, we're out there at 2, 3 in the morning hanging out with other professionals, right? And still have those relationships to this day. So that's how you network. You don't go in there and just pass this card and all that because everybody's doing that. How do you really differentiate yourself? And it's by being a person. Like, and I'll even give another tip. I was at an event maybe a couple months ago working for Hootsuite. So I go in there, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna keep it all the way real. I'm gonna tell you this story. You know me. I'm thinking about you shining up the brown shoes, the cognacs. You gonna go to the event. I'm gonna go get spiffy, and then I also had this fresh outfit. I had the polo with the Jordans. I had that side by side. So what I was struggling with, bro, is like, all right, if I have certain amount of impressions and I have all these relationships, right? What if I go there and I know people from the industry? These are social media people. These are a lot of people I'm connected with. Yeah. They see me in some brown shoes and the shirt. That's not true to me. Right. I can't be talking all this authentic shit and I'm over there doing that. And then what I did, bro, I ain't gonna front, I was nervous as hell. Threw the Jordans on, all that stuff. Got in there. Nobody even noticed. Hey, what's up? Good morning. So shout out to the team. I didn't feel no sort of way and it was love. But I got more conversations started off of my Jordans than some of the conversations about the brand. Were they the 12s that you had, or which? The 11s, the patent leathers. 11s, yeah. 11s, yeah. By the first day, though, bro, when we linked up and we went to that party, bro. By the second day, it was sneakers wars. People were coming in the second day. It was like, yo, I got the Travis Scott's what's the names on. I got I got this on. And yeah, man, bro. I saw you yesterday, man. I'm like, man, my feet hurt, man. I'm going here with this. It was that. And then I had so many people come up to me and tell me that, bro. At least over 15 people and numbers and contacts. We're sharing stories. And that's love. So, guys, that's how you do it. It's not about what they've told you in the past. When you want to work the room, stand out. So if I'm in a room of 100 people and everybody's suited and booted, and I come in there with Jared Thomas, the hat, and the Jordans, I'm going to stand out. And guess what? That's what I want. And then when I open my mouth, I'm going to stand out even more. So think about ways, and it's on digital and it's in person. Just be yourself. Try to figure out ways that you could differentiate yourself and just be a person. People don't want to get sold to, man. There's so much shit going on in the world that I don't want to sit there and be like, all right, man. Sometimes less is more. Just, hey, this is what I want to do. And this, I'm trying to make it. First of all, it's like a date. Yeah. It's a date. Yeah. This is a date. This is a date. You're not going to try to hit the home run on the first, on the first conversation. Hey, baby, let's go back to the spot. Right. It's not going to happen. Well, that's what I mean. For me, that's why when I approach a live event, I tell myself that look, all your goal can be is to try and have a real relationship with somebody. Try to build a real relationship. And that way you don't go into any of those conversations going like if you said, okay, all I want is 5 good relationships, then you go like, all right, this is good, probably number 2, good, I'll be real with them. You can't put a number on it. So I just go like, all right, I just want to be real. I want to come away with the type of connection where I feel like I can actually reach out to somebody. Not just like, hey, they seem kind of interested when I pitched them there, when I caught them trying to get a drink at the bar. Like, no, is there somebody there that I made a good connection with? And I find that when I approach it that way, I make a bunch. But also, though,
when you talk about some of our experiences together, you know, you and I have a great ability to sort of, you know, neither one gets in the way of the other. We kind of have unique enough personalities that they don't ever collide, but we're great together as a you know, as a team. And so we would build these relationships with people at these conferences. It felt like, you know, this kind of immovable force. We would just kind of go and be like, you know, we genuinely enjoy being around you, and you know, you're going to genuinely enjoy being around us too. And let's, you know, let's talk intelligently about what we do, but let's also be funny and real, and you know, all of those different things, you know, and so that's that kind of thing you can't really teach. It's that thing that we kind of, you know, we're able to.
You can't, bro. That was super. But the thing about us is we knew when each other was like, when you was going off, bro. If you're talking to 3-4 people, and I'm in it, and then you're just talking that shit. Like, I'm not gonna go in there like, hey, what about this? And, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Let each other rock out, man. But at the end of the day, we didn't go in there with ulterior motive. We knew that we were the guys that you would want to be around with, because we're going to be having fun. We're going to talk our shit. We know our space, and that's what it really is, bro. But I know, I was saying, because we on up to the 30-minute, bro. I do want to talk about the recruiting aspect, right? So for those listening, you know, me and Lee, we're both starting our own businesses. We're both doing our consulting, but we're still in the market. We're looking for opportunities and things like that. But there's, you know, if you're not familiar with the tech sector, there's so many layoffs happening across verticals, man, especially in the tech. It's just, man, if you're in SaaS right now, you're getting pummeled. I forgot what other company. I think Stripe just laid off another 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Hootsuite laid off another 5% of people. It's just going.
Twitter's about to be 50. Twitter's going to be 50%
of their global org.
3,000 to 3,800 people.
So just think about that in tech, guys. Just 3,000 people just from Twitter alone. And if you have that name, that's like having a blue check in this industry. So if you're just a regular person who doesn't have that background or doesn't have that, you know, you worked at Google, Amazon, or LinkedIn, or the big names, it's going to get really effing tough for everybody out there in the next couple of months, especially with the recession, bro. So I'm curious, bro, if you could go through what you've been going through, like what are some of the things that you've seen that have been going well, and just what are some of the things that we could just keep it real and call out, like what is going on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so one thing I would say that I think has been pretty good is since the pandemic, the mind frame has shifted around, I'll call it side hustles, but really, you know, using your own personal time to create content, to get paid as a creator. You know, that type of mindset has only sort of been bolstered during the pandemic, because people have had to compensate against being out with being effective somewhere else. And so, you know, the more engaging you can make your content, the better you're going to stand out when everyone is just on a screen that can be turned off, right? So I think the mindset that you can make money as an independent sort of contractor and as a freelancer and as a consultant, it's a great time for that. And I don't think there's any lack of opportunities there. But from a you know, regular 401k type of opportunity, you know, I think we were discussing before in the backstage that, you know, it has changed, especially in the past couple of weeks, month. You're starting to see less and less really qualified opportunities. People are not hiring in the numbers that they were a month, 2 months, 3 months ago. Even just looking at the jobs numbers and stuff, like it's starting to decline. So it's not a great time for people to be looking. And I think in my experience, I've kind of drawn the line. I think if a hiring manager ghosts you, then that's a red flag, and that's a good sign. You like gotta, you know, stay away from that person or any company that would be paying them to ghost people, right? But recruiters ghosting you, that's even worse. That's your whole job, is to stay engaged with somebody. You know, I can understand if I'm trying to book an interview with someone at a company, and they're a high level executive and they've had to push it a couple of times. Like, that's annoying, but I get it. If I'm speaking to somebody with a fair amount of influence or kind of position in an organization, I'll give them that kind of, especially if it's like, we're sorry, we keep doing this. Thank you for your patience. Like, that's okay. That's okay. No recruiter should ghost you. That recruiter, they need to be blocked. They need to be, everything. I hate to be hard on a fellow salesperson because that's all they are is salespeople. But like, ghost people, man. It is such an important thing for somebody that you are dealing with an upfront, reliable, consistent, transparent recruiter who's gonna, look out for you. That's why I've stuck with a few in my career that I know will always reach out to me with an opportunity that they think is a good one, and they'll be right, and they'll be consistent, and they took the time to know me and know my career. Those are great, but there's a lot of mediocre recruiters out there, unfortunately. And I don't want to paint the whole with the same brush because it's a tough job. I understand that.
Yeah.
But getting ghosted by a recruiter who reached out to you about a job that wasn't even a good fit based on your experience at all, and then you ghost. It's like,
see, that's one of my many issues with recruiting, bro. One is, okay, look, so you hit me with a generic message, right? I'm cool with that. But if you go on LinkedIn, it's plastered over where you see executives, you'll see VPs of marketing, whoever the buyers are talking about how the messaging is so bad across sales, right? And then recruiting doesn't even get talked about, right? Because it's the same message. They go, hey, I saw your background. It was impressive, Jared, and da-da-da. Yeah. And then you get on the phone call, and then you're basically just listing out everything that's on your resume and everything that's on my LinkedIn. So for somebody like myself, bro, when I get there and I'm like, all right, you go to my page, I'm talking to this one, I got a bunch of interviews, I got a bunch of content, bunch of views. And in some of these companies, I got more views than the actual brand. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm talking to a 27-year-old something that doesn't even understand what I do. Then if I'm talking to a recruiter, I have to pitch you my story, and then you're not listening to it verbatim. You're going to write down your notes. You're going to want to obviously get me through because you make money on it. And then you're going to pass it along, and now I got to do the same song and dance over again. And it's the same over and over and over. And I just hate that shit, bro. Like, I hate the fact of people ghosting because these are people's livelihoods, especially in a time like right now. These are people's livelihoods. And you're not reaching out to people, or I've had times where I've spoken personally to CEOs. It's like what are we doing? You know what I mean? Which I'm appreciative of the opportunity, but I hate wasting time. I hate wasting time. And I just hate, like, even little shit too, bro. Like, when you go on the application, you ever notice, why do they ask you if you're Hispanic before any other race? You ever notice that shit? I don't know. I've never went through, why are we asking that? Like, why are we asking I get it for data statistics and all that other shit, but you don't need to know that. I've never put in I'm a black man on a application and felt like I was going to get the job. Yeah. And that's it. So it's little stuff like that, man, about our industry. But we talk all this diversity and this inclusion stuff, and then it's terrible, man. And then the same thing for these layoffs, which I challenge the companies, right? So you're making all these layoffs, but out of all these layoffs, how was diversity taken into account? Did you lay off 20% white people, 20% black people, 20% Hispanics, 20% other rate, whatever it is? Did you do that? Because I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? So much messed up.
I don't know the answer. I think it seems like there's good intentions behind it, but at the end of the day, you have to think, I have, as many times I have said I declined to answer on a lot of these things, and I don't know are they allowed to weigh the ones that decline to answer differently than the ones that do answer? Are they able to take any of it into account at all? Like, what's, I just don't understand that part of the industry. I'm sure it's pretty, I'm sure you're able to what's that?
It's fugazi. Like all this shit. That's what I don't like. And that's where I'd be like, I'd be wanting to call all this stuff out, but I feel like nobody's asking the why. Nobody's asking, why do we do it this way? Is there a better way to do it? This is just how we've historically done and keep going. But it's so much BS in it. And I'm gonna be honest on another front, bro. Like, obviously, because you're my bro, and I gotta tell you this, but like, for me personally, out of all the people I've spoken to 50 companies since I got laid off at Hootsuite, bro, I might have talked to one recruiter that was African American.
Oh, really?
One. One. And that was a brother who passed me off to the CEO. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So, but most of the time, I'm talking to, young people, they're probably younger than both of us, bro. They're in a job. They don't have the sales background and acumen that you and I have. They don't have the sales revenue and all these, like all of the things that we've overcome in our career. Like, why are you asking me? And it's so, like, you know what I mean? It's like so tailored. So what was your revenue with the last job? What companies did you close? So how close to quota were you? It's all bullshit. I could tell you anything.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, that's it, right?
I had 1,000% of quota. Oh, really? That's amazing. And sometimes I do. And then it's still
yeah.
Keeping it real.
I mean, well, that's it, right? There's
keep it real.
Yeah. It's funny because like I have this trick where I think resumes don't tell you very much. They tell you how much time somebody wanted to spend on their resume. But what I've done in the past is taken a Google search trip around what the top keywords are for the position I'm looking for. And I find those keywords and I copy them and I paste them to the bottom of my resume, and I turn the font color white, and then I turn it into a PDF so that if there's some machine out there that's looking for a keyword around, resumes, that it's going to say, oh, that's a good one. That one doesn't say anything that we want to hear, so it's about, it's all in there, and it's old school, like black hat SEO keyword stuffing thing. But I'm just trying to do everything that I can to differentiate. I'm trying to do everything that I can to get up on the system. Like when if I'm speaking to someone and it's an important call, I'll go onto their LinkedIn and I'll look at any recommendations that they've given. And if they've given a lot, then I'll take those recommendations, I'll copy them into a document, and then I'll paste them into a word cloud generator so I can see what things do they keep saying over and over. Innovative, hardworking, loyal, whatever kind of words are the biggest in that cloud. I'm going to go, all right, this is when somebody's asked to compliment somebody, what virtues are they pulling out? And I'm going to try and find those. And so I can understand, look, this person is really about, organization. This person is about, humanity. This person is about, efficiency, right? And you can pull those things out, but you got to do something. You got to cover your bases, and you got to do your research. Everything is sales, and finding a job is sales. That's why I don't like prospects that waste my time or ghost me when I'm trying to find a job, or when I'm trying to, help a customer buy from me. There's no difference. I have the same expectations whenever I approach all of it. I know you do too. That's the thing about it. It's like
you know the deal, bro. I'm just at a point where I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like I just refuse to kiss ass at this point. I feel like and it's just everybody's going through. A lot of people are going through it. But I also look at it and be like, damn, you got one? You what? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it out. I'm gonna keep it real, bro. But I refuse to kiss somebody's butt or have to feel like I have to say the right things. I feel like I know certain conversations. I come in there with this, and it's like, bro, I just don't care no more, bro, because I know what I'm about. I know I can sell, and I know I can sell. I'm not saying I'll be a bestseller, but there's somebody on your roster that I'm kicking his ass. There's on your roster that I'm running circles around, and this is what it is. And if you want to, like, that's where my mindset comes to, bro. So when I'm talking to the young 20-something-year-old, it's like, yeah, well, what about your 40? Like, I don't care. Like, why am I talking to you? Because I get your business so much that I could help you in so many different areas of the business that this area is just sales. So one thing that I always talk to people about, and I just cut them off instantly if they answer this wrong, bro. But I'm like, what are my opportunities to work with? Marketing. What opportunities will I have to work with the executive team? What opportunities will I be able to create my personal brand and continue to do what I'm doing? What if I get somebody really big for the podcast that's our ideal customer profile? Will I be able to throw a logo on there? And will I be able to be compensated for it? Will I be able to do all these different things? Because I asked them, like, once I hit quota, I get bored. We came from places where we were legal, marketing, demand gen, sales. So you know the deal, bro. So like, I do this one job. What else am I doing? It's 12 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, that's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? I'm bored now. And then when I express that, articulate that to 20-something-year-old, they don't get that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, Jab, what we really want you to do is focus on sales and this and the third and all this other stuff. I'm like, I can do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, there you go. But here's a big thing that I think is staring us right in the face, and it is the belief that you and I both share that there should be no difference between sales and marketing. They are part of the same funnel. Any division that you create between them is artificially imposed. That imaginary line is nothing but an imaginary line between that funnel and the sales funnel. It's no different. And people talk a big game where, I ask that same thing. It's so funny. I ask the same thing. I go, what's the relationship with marketing? What kind of support is there between sales and marketing? How often do they meet?
What resources?
It's not great. We'd love it to be back. Like, I don't know if I've ever had anybody go like, "Oh, great." Nobody can. It's the one thing people can't lie about. They're just like, there's always challenges with, I'm like, exactly. So, if I'm a good salesperson, I believe that means I'm a good marketer. And so part of my work shouldn't be busy work. It shouldn't be sending out another 100 sequences. It should be creating content and being supported to create content, because salespeople talk to the customers and they can provide such useful information to marketing, and marketing talks to potential customers that walk out of nowhere and become customers. And there's so much to learn on both sides of that. The fact that they're not in the same room, being compensated on the same, funnel is crazy to me. But it's a fundamental belief. And either you believe that they're separate and that they should be siloed and you should pit them against each other, you're going to believe that. If you believe that they should be one and the same, that everyone should be striving to unify those two, then you're in the other camp. And I'm in the camp, I'm in the latter. I don't think there should be any difference. So that means that anybody that gives you any kind of shit for wanting to create content after you've, hit your quota, or even before that, or even at the beginning of the year, or I don't care, that's the kind of busy work that bears fruit. It's not just, how many cold calls did you make? I just, every time I hear that, even though, listen, I'm a cold calling monster. Okay, I can do it, and I've done it better than most, and high volume, right? But how many customers come from a cold call? I mean, really. If somebody can answer that to me and really go with a straight face, go tons. Well, I want to work with you, because that's not how it happens most of the time. People go, well, gosh, you make enough calls, you make 100 calls, you get a 99 no's. Well, on that one, it's like, well, listen, by the time I've made 10,000 calls, I'm a mess, right? You just can't do that. You can't, there are always exceptions, and I get that, but man, don't lie to me straight to my face. Cold calls don't do it without a plan, without support, without technology. You got to have a power down. You got to have well-written scripts. You have to have training. You have to have content that fits in every part of that buyer's journey. It fits different personas. You have to have all that in place. It can't just be a call where you pick up the phone, you found a number, you called the person, you sold the thing. That happens, but it doesn't happen operationally.
You can, but it's going to be instant gratification and it's not going to be the ultimate deal. Right? Like,
Well,
so
yeah,
like,
that's it.
if you nurture it and get to the right problem, like you can get to somebody on the cold call, but like,
yeah, but there's too much luck involved in that. There's
way
too
too
much
much,
luck.
way too much.
Yeah.
And then even more so, you get one shot with a cold call.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like. You get one shot. So you done made 50,000. I know you've been there, bro. Where we just boom, nobody answered. Boom, nobody answered. Boom, nobody answered. Hey, Jared. Oh, he answered, and now you're kind of nervous. You haven't.
Oh,
yeah. And that first one messes up. So now you're like, damn it, you messed that one up. You really needed that call. But really, with content, you always get the opportunity to continue and continue and continue. Yeah. And you nurture that person. And then when they come into or actually come into your DM and say, I want to work with you, they're closed. They are closed. You don't need to do anything but be yourself, smile, and doubt. I've had conversations with prospects where literally all I do is like this. It's like where I'm just sitting here talking, and it's just like we want to work so much together, and we know so much about each other already that I necessarily don't even have to do discovery. You're giving me all the information. Well, all I have to do is prepare properly, like we normally would do in the sales conversation, and take it from there.
What I love about watching you sell, and I've watched it many times, is it's a phantom sale. I don't ever see you selling.
No, I can't.
I never see you selling.
I hate selling.
People close themselves, and that's it.
I hate selling. Hate it.
Yeah.
Because I done sold some terrible shit. I done sold some shit that was like, oh. Then it was like, you go home and you get the check, but you feel bad, and it's like, And I don't like that feeling, bro. Like, I just want to be able to do good business with all those involved. And then if you know your stuff, you're not selling, you're not convincing you. I'm actually helping you at that point. And especially if somebody comes into you because of your content, you have an invested interest to make sure they're right, because you don't know how many more you're going to get.
Yeah.
So, so if that one person does walk in the door, you're giving them red carpet service. You're going the extra mile. You're talking to the executive team. Can we throw a little discount on the, you know what I mean? Can we do this? And how can we make sure that we make this sticky? And you do it, and it makes the whole experience that much better because your name is riding on this. And if you don't close it, you're kind of a jerk. So, like, you know what I mean? You messed up. So that's what it is. So anybody listening that's in sales right now, why do you think all these companies are laying people off? Because the old methods aren't working. I don't care what they say, whether it's hiring, whether it's bad budgeting. It's because sales is performing the way they should be. Yeah. And the way to do that, I don't understand how most of these big tech organizations, they have marketing teams, right? But then the marketing teams aren't client facing. You got 100 people in marketing, but they're not on the client calls. They're not doing anything besides pumping out content. There's no real attribution with that. We're over here doing our own thing. And then you got SDRs pumping out emails, making 1,000 dials, bro. And literally the best sellers I know are the ones doing what we do. Yeah. Bro, I sold over $1 million at the spot, bro, the last spot. Didn't do anything. I had clients and stuff like that, but it was just doing this, bro, and doing what I love to do. Just being on conversation. Oh, man, I did that. Oh, we could do this, and this is how you should do it. You should look at it from this metric. Oh, really? What's your content resources? What? You're doing it internally? Why are your goals this? And we would just go so deep, bro, to the point where clients were so grateful, and I learned so much, bro. But
guys, you know what, too? What drives me crazy is that there doesn't seem to be the same mindset around sales teams. Every department is looking at, efficiency, analytics, KPIs, and all that. And the way that so many people look at sales is so antiquated. Like, if I have a rubber stamp to be able to, set up the tech stack for a company, a sales organization, a company, like, I'm getting gone. First of all, I'm getting gone.
Shout out to Gong. Shout out to Uli.
Yeah, shout out to Gong. And that's not an endorsement, but it is an endorsement. Like that is technology. And their thought leadership, their white papers, their case studies is real data, right? And so, it's when you see sales approached like another part of an organization, it's exciting because gosh, if the mind frame around sales could change, it could be so exciting and dynamic. But people think that they just need to buy a CRM. They can buy a basic HubSpot, and people will just use their phone and they'll call and maybe they'll send some emails and it'll be great. But it's like, if you really are a data-driven company, and you want to understand what a good sale looks like for your organization, what reps did that created closes, and what they did do to lengthen the sales cycle, like all that stuff. Got to have some tech. I mean, you've got to. And I think companies like Gong are a good sign if you're looking at a sales organization. Also,
I was gonna say Gong is a shit, but I want to say they're slightly different because they're in a unique position because they have so much first party data. That's what most companies aren't going to have. Like, so they analyze all the sales calls and they're getting all those pain points. And when they're making those white paper reports, all they got to do is program it, export it, and take it out.
That's the great thing about it.
So like they're geniuses for that, but they own that first party data. But for those clients or brands that don't have first party data, it's doing what isn't being done in the industry. Look at your competitors and see what they're not doing, right? Like me and you, bro, we were so disruptive even for our agency at the time because it's like you didn't see it. You didn't see a white guy and a black guy together. They had the synergy. We had the energy. We knew our stuff about marketing. We were talking about regular stuff. We didn't have to be so centered on, hey, this is our product, this is our product, this is our product, this is our product. And I hate to say it now, but like I even look back at the old show. It's like I look at it now. It's so product driven, and it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like.
I agree. It's funny. I don't know if you ever watched Seinfeld or not. I think we maybe talked about this. You never really watched it. Did you?
Not really. Okay, I'm gonna give you. I've seen bits and pieces, but that wasn't really my thing.
It just reminds me that George in the show, it's like a show. Seinfeld's like a show about nothing. And in the show, there's a story around how they pitched the sale of Seinfeld's show to NBC, and George is like, it's about nothing. And then, the executives are like, it's about nothing. He's like, it's nothing. And Jerry's like, well, maybe it's about something. And he's like, no, it's about nothing. And I feel like we had that same kind of conviction when it came to like, creating content where we really didn't want to be selling or be talking business, straight down the line. It's this vertical, it's this position, it's these kind of subjects only. You wanted it to be about whatever you thought was interesting, or with whoever you thought was interesting, right? And I think that there's something to be said for that is amazing. So that's a shout to you, man, because you've been 100% dedicated to being yourself and being real the whole time.
And just talking about stories. Like, for instance, bro, the very first episode of season 2, bro, I had High Octane, who was my bro, and one street ball legend, right? But I'll give you one more. Like, I had CEOs in that conversation commenting on the post talking about, man, that took me down the memory lane. I remember the ESPN show and stuff like that. Now, guess what? You think I couldn't go in the DMs and have a conversation with them? Because we're experiencing that together. We're experiencing those stories. Now, if I was just strictly SEO or whatever the case may be, and I'm talking about backlinks and how to acquire them, and I just happen to sell backlinks and acquisition, like, come on. Like, it's just so... You narrow yourself down, and the spaces are so small. You need to be able to get people where they are, and you need to interest people. We're all in the same game, and the game is the attention. The attention is the currency. And you can't sit there and do the same thing and think what you think is valuable for your organization is going to be valuable for everybody else. I tell people, man, you can put up a steak, medium rare, on LinkedIn. There's somebody in a steakhouse that's eating a medium rare steak right now that loves you more, just a little bit. Or connects with you just a little bit because you put up that medium rare steak. So it's about connecting with people, and you only connect with people by having authentic experiences shown and going through things that you go through, having it look like your journey, bro. And I tell you, man, I know me and you're gonna get it going, bro, and get back on the grind. But man, this I ain't gonna lie, bro. This felt good. I didn't realize it was an hour, man. I have to pick up.
I know. I keep thinking like, all right, we're probably gonna have to start talking, pretty soon and fill it out. And we got like 40 seconds left. It's amazing, bro. I mean, I love you, Jarrett. You're one of my best friends and dearest sort of. You're like a friend, a mentor, in all of these other things to me, man. So thank you.
Likewise, bro, man. Love you, man. Love you for free, brother. You know how we do, man. On, off camera. Yeah. It's an honor for you to be on the show, man. Like I said, man, I just want to thank you with everybody. Just thank you to your face, bro, because people need to hear this, man. You were a big inspiration for me, man, because like you said, it was hard to jump off the porch initially, man. And had you not been in there, had you not been like, yo, JT, let's go get him. There was days I didn't want to do shit. There was days I didn't want to. It was days I didn't want to record, bro. And then you had the energy. And it was like, all right, let's do it, man. And then we just kept each
Yeah.
other, we held each other accountable, man. We kept pushing each other forward. So for that, man, I'm always gonna love you, bro, regardless of everything else, man. And we was gonna start our show. Rankable was gonna be me and you, bro. That was like the thing.
Yeah.
And to see what happened, I was like, and even I'll tell you this, bro. Like I don't think I've ever told. The reason I even kept going with that shit is for you. You know what I'm saying? Obviously for sales and things like that, but we put so much into it.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what I'm saying? That if I let that shit the wayside,
it would have been all for nothing if he hadn't kept it going.
Bro, that's what I felt, man.
We had it all set up. We were ready to go. Yeah. I remember when I came up with the name, I was like, this is the name for the podcast, and like it felt right, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited. And then I started cutting people, and I was like, oh well, we are full circle, man. Full circle,
bro. So that's why I wanted to have you on the show, bro, and just keep going, man. Don't let anybody stop you, man. Just keep grinding. And you know what I mean? It's meant a lot to me, bro. So I love you, man. If everybody on, my boy B Love, Rich, I love you, broski. Appreciate you, man, for tuning in, man. Everybody, man, thank you for the support, the love, man. The show is growing. The subscribers are growing, man. And y'all keep me going, man, because it's hard as hell, man. It's hard as hell, and y'all keep me inspired. So much love, guys. And we're going to see you guys next week for another great episode. We got Lisa Hurley, and we're also rescheduling our episode with SO. I'm filming that tomorrow, but we're not going live. And we got Paxton Baker, chairman of the Washington Nationals. We're going to hit him back next week. So we got 2 next week. And we're going to make it happen, y'all.
You're a beast, bro. I love you, man.
My guy, I love you for free, broski. So I'll see you guys for another week. And see you, man.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me?